Okay, diabetes. So when we eat glucose, sugar, and it comes in our body, our pancreas and our islet of Langerhans releases insulin. Insulin combines with the glucose and lets it enter the cells in our body, which gives us energy. If we take in more than we need, so we have excess energy, that excess glucose is sent to the liver where it's stored in the form of glycogen until our body needs it again. But when we've done this and it goes through our body and it works as energy, that's just a normal process. But when we have diabetes, this process gets messed up. So we have two types of diabetes. We have either type 1 or type 2. We know that type 2 is due to obesity and that kind of thing, and type 1 is more of a genetic type factor, something you're born with, because it means with type 1 diabetes, our islets of Langerhans have been destroyed. Okay, they're not producing the insulin the way that it needs to. So that is what impacts the type 1 diabetes. That is why we give them insulin as a treatment. Now, with type 2 diabetes, this process happens, the sugar comes in, we have the glucose, but we have insulin resistance. So the cells just won't take up the insulin. They've been damaged, which leads to hyperinsulinemia. We've got all this insulin floating around, it has nowhere to go, so there's no way to process it, which is what happens with type 2 diabetes. It interrupts this whole process. We also have a situation where if we fast or we're not eating enough, we're not taking in enough glucose, we have no glucose intake, that's where our body comes over here to the liver where we've stored everything for later, and it breaks this glycogen back down into glucose, puts it in the body, sends it up here, starts the whole insulin cell uptake process. So that's the A and P behind what is happening with diabetes, and then you can take and apply the medications and the treatments to that process.